here at Brian's shop. Just got through working on my motor. Got the crank in it tonight. And a lot of people know Shannon, Bloodbath. He's over here too. This car, you know, comes out of this shop also, out of this camp. I mean, we all work on them together over here. Lots of knowledge and expertise among a group. And usually when we're all talking about stuff, we can usually sort through it pretty good. So we're going to talk a little bit about Shannon as he's working on it. And a lot of y'all don't even know. I mean, you know, this car is at the track about every weekend, but he's over at Brian's shop here almost every night. He works a full-time job, so he don't get to pay nobody to work on his car. So him and Brian, they come over here every night. Shannon gets over here after work, and they bust ass on it. They really do a good job trying to maintain it and keep it together. So tonight, he just pulled a head off of it. So old Bloodbath over here getting some head work. Shannon, what kind of heads are those?
Antique Yates C3s from 2002, I believe.
So he just took these things off. He done a cranking compression test on it. And what was the numbers on the cranking compression?
100.
100?
100. That's what you got to have to win limited 28 race.
Brian, what do you think? You need more than 100?
90 will do.
90 will work on a couple cylinders, apparently.
We'll run them motherfuckers over no matter what.
Woo, doggy.
We also just did a valve job right here in the shop. As you see, backyard valve job we just had to do.
So y'all know me, Brian, Shannon, Randy, we all from the same camp. I hadn't done a lot of videos on Shannon's car or Brian's car. Brian ain't really into grudge racing much. He's fixing to do something different. But Shannon does a lot of grudge racing, but he's also doing this limited 28 stuff. So, you know, we just wanted some of those nitrous ballers to kind of see what Bloodbath is and what it's not. Maybe this is a bad deal to do this. I know Justin and Big Country and them probably going to be, they're going to be pocket watching, as they like to say. We ain't got no pockets.
Yeah.
So these things...
They got $90,000 engines. We got $40,000 cars. The whole car. All of it.
And I think there's been so far two limited 28 races, no time. And I think Shannon's won both of them. And there's been some pretty good killers there. I mean, you know, this little turbo, I mean, this is the bang up 98. So, I mean, you know, it's class legal. So he's going to be, you know, running it again. We did run the reducers, and I mean, we'll see what happens with the 98 on it. These heads.
Yeah, they're basically garbage. The exhaust port's got big cracks and holes in them, but we're just working with what we got. We filled them with concrete, basically, hard block. And
hard block in the heads.
Yeah, filled the water jackets in the heads with hard block.
And so, and now it's a running piece.
That was before any of the limited 28 races.
So the beginning of this year is when all of a sudden the car wouldn't come up on the converter, and y'all felt exhaust coming out the head, the coolant passage.
Yeah.
And so then at that point, I mean, they took the heads off, and there was a big chunk missing out of one, like a hole the size of your thumb. So he was working it through and put concrete in the heads just to get by a few races, but this bitch is fast.
It's still kicking.
I wonder what kind of cranking compression them nitrous motors has got.
I don't know. Probably more than 100. I would say.
Hell, my motor's got more than 100. Mine's got 150.
I would say even the turbo cars got more than 100. Probably. I would say.
I don't know there's many of them out there that's got 100, 110 pounds of cranking compression. But you know, it's one of those things. Working with what he's got, he's gonna try to win some more money in the next few races. There's some big money races out there, and so if this thing hangs together a few more races, I like to do more with less. That's our motto. Doing more with less and run it till it falls apart.
We always say a couple more races. That's what we always say, but
it always ends up being 20 more.
The whole season, and then the next season.
Races means until it flies apart.
And then the next season you come out and you're like, oh man, well, it stayed together. Right. So why are we going to? I mean, there ain't no need to take it apart. So this thing was Kevin Robinson done the cage. I don't know if y'all noticed something. That is the factory firewall. Factory strut tower there. I mean, he could almost put another seat in this thing street drive.
I mean, full floors, factory floors, stock suspension front and rear. Don't forget the $150 eBay headers that welded flanges on.
Oh yeah, let's check that out. Oh yeah, y'all gonna really flip that out.
So we can drag this custom header out of here.
I don't know if y'all realize
this is B&K custom headers. We got some $150 Flowtech LS headers, no doubt, because they were the only thing that had a big tube. And we welded some flanges on them, as you can see, off of a chassis car that had some Yates heads from God knows when. No port match, as you can see. I don't think Brian back purged them or none of that when he MIG welded them.
And those things hadn't had no trouble at all for like 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, I don't know how we've had however long this car. Every pass that you have witnessed this car make, it has had these headers on it right here.
That is hilarious.
And we have not had any failures. I don't know. I mean,
so all the LS fans is what I'm hearing you say is they can't be mad because you don't have LS parts. You got LS parts. You got LS headers.
I have LS headers. Yep.
Dude, that's awesome. Y'all seen it at the track. I mean, it's just a well sorted out combination. It ain't got a dash, but there's a bunch of street cars that run around in there that claim they're street cars with no dashes.
Oh, show Devin that custom wiring as easy. I also dabble in the arts of custom wiring, Devin. I don't know.
That is definitely great.
I've been meaning to send him that, to post that in his little thread about his custom wiring. I've been meaning to post that.
So what happens with these things, he had it, wired up good. Stephen Terry did a jam up wiring job on it. But, these things have got to be raceable. So in the process of making them raceable over a year or two, I mean, you just move stuff. I mean, you got to make it so you can get to it, you can access it. And that's the bad thing, I mean, I guess about, racing is it starts out looking jam up, but then in order to keep it going, I mean, it just turns into what it is. Although y'all done a great job on this. I mean, you just took the head off of it and turbo, I mean, it's still on there. I mean, that's awesome. It's serviceable at the track. Oh, let's look at these burnt tips on these spark plugs.
Secrets, you can't be showing the spark plug.
Can't be showing the spark plugs?
No, that's too many trade secrets.
Come on, man. Still got all the tips on the spark plugs over there. I don't know if y'all noticed that. I know he does have some piston delete tunes hard on parts, but he tries not to run those. All right, guys, so the head's back on. Shannon, any last words? We're going to wrap up this video. What do you think? What do you got to say to the limited, no time, 28 Mike Hill killers?
And all I can say is they just need to step up, because we're still working on this thing, as you can see, every night. It gets faster every time we go to the racetrack, pretty much. But it's not from lack of effort, that's for sure.
So you're saying it's not because we've got a huge rule advantage, it's because you're putting in work.
We work on it. I want to say that we went 5 or 6 weeks of working on it every single day.
That's crazy. That's insane. I mean,
5 or 6 weeks in a row, leading up to Mike Hill's $10,000 race. We worked on it for every day for 5 or 6 weeks in a row. We had transmission out, converter out, engine apart, put a new short block in, broke a timing belt, put all new valves in it, had the heads redone, had the heads cracked, filled them with concrete.
It's constant. It's
You
never
name
ending.
it, we did it. Change a rear gear, change a converter, testing, race every weekend, once or twice a weekend. Just trying to make the car faster every week.
But to hear some of the people talk about it and think about it, and especially the people that, I hate to say the people that ain't even racing actively in the class, but there's a lot of people that's not even active in the class, and they are trying to get rules changed, and they ain't even participating. I mean, luckily most of the guys in there participating are, they're not crying. And I hate to use that terminology, but we know how it goes when you try to mix nitrous cars and turbo cars, especially us coming from the class world. I mean, this is one of those deals. Mike Hill's done a pretty good job with the rule set. I mean, Shannon, anybody can win at any time. There's some fast big block nitrous cars out there. And so it's one of those things. I mean, it's you got to put in work. All right, guys, well, that wraps it up. That's a little bit about Bloodbath. Y'all will see him at the track. At some point, he's going to stay red.
Man, it ain't won enough money to get painted yet. It's got to earn its keep before it gets a paint job.
So what you're saying is looks don't matter. We care about performance.
That's it.
How fast is it getting down, and is it getting down consistently, and is it throwing on that wind light? That's the key.
Weight.
Do what? Paint is weight.
Paint is weight.
Way too much.
Paint is weight. We ain't got no time for weight.
This thing's got to be as light as possible to run with some of the undercover pro mods in the class. and they are there. Undercover Pro Mods. If the chassis was built and then the body was set on top of it and there's not a piece of factory firewall or floor or frame rail in that thing that is supporting anything, it is an Undercover Pro Mod. I'm sorry. What do you think? Undercover Pro Mod.
Hell, they're not even undercover.
Well, they ain't even hiding it.
Yeah, they ain't even gotta hide it. They ain't gotta hide it.
I mean, steel quarters and a steel roof and
No steel roof.
Pro Mod chassis. Oh, they don't even have steel roofs now.
No, ain't gotta have a steel roof. Yeah.
Oh, so okay. So Pro Mods is what limited 28s has turned into.
Steel quarter Pro Mods, all chasing a stock suspension, Fox body. Chasing a stock suspension, Fox body. Damn Yankees racing.
Suspension. I mean, it's got
Stock front
still
and
got
rear.
caster camber plates on it. I mean, Shannon, I just got a couple questions. Now you said last night $40,000 cars, $90,000 motors. Let's talk about your car for a second again. I know we ain't sharing a lot of information. We're just sharing some. What do you have new on your car? What kind of new parts did you buy?
New parts.
New-
Torque converter. Got a torque converter from Byron at Cameron's. Probably the best money I ever spent. Other than that,
So you're saying that's you got a used turbo? Is that a used turbo?
that's absolutely a used turbo.
Okay, so what about the block?
Yeah, it's absolutely used. It's from probably the 80s. They haven't made an RDI block. I don't know how long, 20 years probably.
An RDI from 1972. Is that what you
Yeah, basically. Yeah, right. Cylinder heads.
So that stuff's-
like
so
probably Bill Elliott or somebody. I don't know.
So the heads come from
Yeah, NASCAR, like old school, back when it was Winston Cup or something like that, when they had beer advertisements and shit like that. Gaskets. I did buy new gaskets.
new gaskets. Okay, so
Yeah.
far we're at new gaskets and new torque converter.
Torque converter. Yeah. Torque
So that's
converter.
new parts. Everything. Okay, what else
And
we got
gaskets.
new? Brian, can you think of anything that was
Anything that was new.
gaskets and
10 and 20 bolts out of my bolt.
10 or 20 bolts?
Yeah, there's some bolts out of the bolt bin. Probably those were new. Other than that,
So the Holly Dominator was bought used. The dash was used.
yeah.
What about? Okay, now I know you didn't find that timing set used down there somewhere.
Yeah, that's used. That's absolutely used. And I used the used belt for apparently too long because I broke that against DJ McCain in Orangeburg for the big small block shootout down there. So apparently I used the used timing belt beyond its expiration date. So I did have to buy a new timing belt, I guess technically.
Oh, new timing
Yeah,
belt. Okay.
I did have to buy a new timing belt.
So wait,
after that.
new timing belt.
And quit
$100.
and 10 new valves that coincided with the timing belt because I bent all the valves when it broke the timing belt.
But I'm sure you look for used valves.
Yeah. I mean, they're not the correct valves or matching even. I couldn't find the right intake valves I needed in a rush, so we had to ream the heads and put a different size stem intake valve in 2 holes. All the rest of them are 5/16, but 2 are 11/32. So it is some janky shit.
So what you're saying is you've got to remember all this. So when you have a problem, you got to remember which valves are what size.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They're not all the same.
Right. Yeah. No, they're not all the same. Not even the same.
Okay, what about these 550 injectors?
Yeah, those were used. Those actually, they got vice grip marks all over them from previous owners taking them apart and cleaning them or something, which I've done the same. So, not like I can say much about it, but
Okay, I know that that fuel pressure regulator was brand new. The way that's welded across
clearly
the top.
the way the nut is welded on the top, that's factory. May have stripped out the nut trying to crank some more fuel pressure to it, and had to weld an aluminum nut on the top.
So I get it. I see what you're saying. There's racing on a budget. There are some people that are not racing on a budget.
I mean, everybody's racing on a budget. It's just some people's budget is not much of a budget.
Our budget's in the dirt.
Yeah, my budget is the least amount of money I can spend. Continue to race.
And continue. Yeah, there you go. I mean, yeah, we have to work on it a little bit more frequently. Now I wonder. Now this is probably a silly question. I wonder how many times these aluminum pipes have been used on different cars. Do you get new pipes every time you decide to change something?
Not a chance. Not a chance. And as you can tell, I'm not even remotely a professional TIG welder. I do that on the side about as much as I do professional wiring, as you've seen.
And what's funny is, I mean, you guys, I mean, you
Literally, this is the first TIG welds I ever did, actually, on these downpipes. This was the first time I ever picked up a TIG welder at all. I immediately welded these downpipes.
It turned out fabulous. It's not falling apart.
And I think, I mean, they haven't failed yet. I don't know if I'd say they're great, but I think I welded the charge pipe too, maybe. I can't remember, but this is the first time I picked up a TIG welder, was to weld these pipes.
Well, that's why I like header wrap. That's why everything on my car is wrapped in header wrap, because you can't see my
Right.
welds.
Well, that's why we wrapped the crossover, because it's MIG welded mild steel, like, you know, some more janky.
Man, you cannot go that fast with MIG welded mild steel. It's got to be TIG welded 304 or 321 stainless, whichever one is preferred.
Yeah, there was no stainless harmed in the making of this crossover, or no TIG rod used either, to be honest with you, because
All
fab
MIG welded.
skills suck, so I don't think you could TIG weld up the cracks that I have. So we just MIG it and get it over with, basically.
So can you guys imagine how fast it would be if he had a $120,000 budget to go do some stuff? How fast you think it would be? Would it be any faster or not?
I mean, you would like to think so, but I don't know.
I say no. I say no, it wouldn't be any faster. But we're good. Our team, we got several cars out here. We're good at making people spend money.
There's definitely been some money spent because of this car, but there has not been any money spent on this car.
There you go.
That's for sure. There's been a lot more spent probably because of this car than there has been spent on it, I would imagine.
No time, limited 28s. That's where it's at right now. Carolina no time, boosted small block. I mean, pretty much, I mean, when they see your trailer roll up, I mean, in your 1972 dually with a 85 trailer, strikes fear in their hearts.
I don't know about that, but we race somewhere every weekend. I mean, pretty much any shootout that we can get to, you know, whether we stand a chance or not, screw blown, pro mods, or whatever. I mean, we just like to race, so we're gonna go somewhere and race. If we don't have anywhere we really fit in good, then we'll go somewhere where we don't have any business, to be honest.
And line them up. You like to race. You like to have
We just
fun.
race. That's it. We just race.
You like to shit talk. But at the same time, I mean, saying that, you know, Joey Oliver likes to shit talk too. So those two get going. You can't win at shit talking with Shannon for sure. So you're going to lose that battle. So, you know, you can only really take it on the track. So you got to come in a similar fashion. You can't be a real pro mod. I mean, he'll race the undercover pro mods. He ain't scared of those. But if it's a real pro mod, he might have some heartbeat. But I mean, you know, give him the break and the hit or something, he'll probably take it and race you for $1,000. He'll help you at the track. I mean, talk shit to you while he's helping you.
Yeah, I mean, we absolutely talk trash.
That's part of it. That's part of the growth.
Friends and enemies. I mean, you know, some of my buddies will tell you I give them the most hell, including Joey Oliver, actually. I mean, I give Joey as much shit as I do anybody, basically. I mean, when he sold his other car, I talked shit to him about his other car. Told him I would outrun that thing. But
it's all fun.
Yeah, it's all fun. That's my homeboy. But
We're having a good time. There's a lot of people that take it too seriously. When Shannon's got y'all all upset and all in y'all's feelings, he is laughing. So y'all got to laugh with
just
him.
know, yeah. If you're mad, I am happy. Just know that just shows weakness to me, and I love it. That's the shit I do like. If you are mad with some shit that I've said, then that basically means I have won. That's pretty much how I take it.
So essentially, you just got to keep talking back. You ain't gonna win though. I mean, but it is what it is. All right, so I'm gonna get out of here. I'm tired. I'm hungry. So this thing is gonna be fired up tonight, I'm sure, and then he'll be ready to go racing for the next couple weeks. And then in a couple weeks, he'll pull the heads back off of it again, do some more valve jobs in the shop here on a 1965 valve cutting machine.
Yeah, we hope it lasts a couple of weeks. Anyways, before we have to pull the heads back off.
It may or may not last a couple weeks. That's my luck. I mean, that's what happens when we have used parts. And our theory is, why buy new when it becomes used as soon as you use it? It's a bad piece, man. Y'all done a great job getting to the races and getting data on it. It's come a long ways in a short period of time. And there's a bunch of mad people out there. Shannon and his team have done a great job building this car, keeping up with the day-to-day maintenance and making it to the track every weekend.
turning the wind lights on against pro mods and slow mods, big budget, low budget, or no budget. It makes no difference. Grab a lane and you got action.